If you are a teacher, congratulations to you, because you are a change maker. You are a leader. And there is no leader who has no teacher. So you are a future maker. You are the best, and you deserve the best. You are doing the most sacred things on the planet that has to be done. And there should be more young people who should join teaching, because if there is no teacher, there is no education. And if there is no education, there is no future.
As vozes do professor.
أصوات المعلمون.
老師有話兒.
Teachers' voices.
Welcome to Teachers' Voices, the podcast made of stories from teachers around the world, talking in their own words. I'm your host, Nina Alonso, and we just heard Sister Zeph, winner of the 2023 Global Teacher Prize. Sister Zeph's words inspired today's episode. This short episode is the last episode in Season 3 of Teachers' Voices. We are taking a few months to work on making our content easier to explore and to compile even more inspiring stories. To close this series, I want to discuss how we, as educators, can help young people to think about better futures. Today is an invitation for reflection. And to spur reflection about the future, a special guest will introduce the concept of futures literacies. Michelle Blanchet is a former teacher, co-author of the startup Teacher Playbook, and co-founder of the Educators Lab. Michelle talks to us from Geneva in Switzerland. Hello, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. What is future literacy?
Hello. Thanks so much for having me on today. I would describe futures literacy as the ability to better understand the role of the future in what we see and do. It's a lens that can help us embrace change and plan and prepare so that we might work towards a desired future.
We live in a time of rapid change, and sometimes this makes young people anxious about the future. How can futures literacy help?
The future isn't set in stone. I think it's important that kids see it's not something that just has to happen to us. The actions we take today will shape tomorrow. When we engage in futures, we're essentially asking students to gauge where they think we're headed based on what they're seeing in the present, if they like what that future looks like, and if not, what they might do differently to achieve a better future. In doing this, we create a way for students to kind of make a North Star for where they want to go, what they want the world to look like. And in doing this, we create more hopeful and inspiring narratives around what we want for the future.
What can teachers do to help kids learn about futures literacy?
So teachers can encourage students to use their imaginations to create new narratives or stories around what's possible. We might encourage them to think about what it means to be a good ancestor. We might ask them to imagine what their schools or communities would ideally look like in 2050 and what that will be or look like for those future generations. We might help them uncover people and organizations that are working towards the vision that they've shared, because usually they're happy to see that there's change makers out there right now that have a similar vision and are already doing things to get there. We might also highlight pathways or actions that they could take to achieve a desired future. And when I say that, it could be simple things. You know, if you want a garden to grow, you need to plant the seed. And so we can start looking at what seeds we want students to plant or what seeds they want to plant. And we can also show them the wide range of activities or things they can do to create their desired future. To give a concrete example of how to engage in futures, maybe you could ask your students to just close their eyes and imagine the future in 20 years. What do they see? How does it make them feel? Some might feel hopeful, but many might feel kind of negative or anxious or fearful. Ask them what's happening today that makes them feel the way they do about the future. Students will be quick to identify key issues. Oftentimes you'll hear things like climate change. They'll recognize that there's political tensions. They might discuss things like mental health. Other topics will surely come up. Help them to see that they're already good at identifying signals or trends, things that are happening in the present that kind of help us imagine where we're headed. But if they don't like these indicators of where we're going, of where our future is headed, ask them to think about how we might create different futures. This is where futures can spark our imaginations and hopefully our agency in helping us see what we might do differently in our lives, in our communities, or in the world to achieve a desired future.
I have read about UNESCO's work on futures literacy, and they use the term foresight. How is foresight incorporated into futures literacy?
Foresight is the ability to imagine different futures. We can take a place like our school and community and encourage students to think about what these places might look like down the road. We might take a sector or industry like food, healthcare, education, or civics and ask students to imagine what these spaces might look like. For me, engaging in foresight is useful because it helps us to understand just how many scenarios are possible. We have the opportunity to work towards the ones that are most desired. It's our actions today that will determine the outcomes. And for me, it's really powerful when we view the world with this mindset and we help students to understand just how important their role is in shaping the future they want.
And what skills do students gain from futures literacy?
Students gain a wide range of skills from engaging in futures thinking. To me, I like that it facilitates systems thinking. It encourages students to embrace complexity and to understand how interconnected things truly are. It also fuels skills like critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration as they engage in big picture thinking. In addition, it can help make learning just more relevant. For instance, in history, we might come to understand our role right now in determining what is happening for future generations. When students know that they are acting as historical agents in defining this moment, it really gives them a sense of responsibility towards what they do. In civics, we might understand the power we have as citizens to shape policy, and especially at the local level, because how we step up, how we use our voice, how we take part will determine if we are providing a better life for future generations. In addition, there are ample ways to weave futures into what students are currently learning so they can better navigate what's happening in the world, imagine alternatives to what's not working, and simply understand their role in shaping the future.
This is the last episode of Season 3 of Teachers' Voices. We will be back later this year, but in the meantime, we will share highlights from previous episodes and reflections on the future of education. I hope you enjoyed today's reflections. Find out more about futures literacy and Michelle Blanchet in the show notes and on both.expert. Stay connected to research and practice about transforming education to help all children learn and thrive. Look out for the 4th season of Teachers' Voices later this year and join our WhatsApp community to stay in touch. In this series, I have particularly appreciated your kind comments on our social media and different podcast platforms, and also really appreciated the contributions that you teachers and educators have given us through our Teachers' Voices WhatsApp group.